and welcome back to another episode of the Jacob Pearman Show. My name is Jacob Pearman, and we're talking sports, football, college football, and NFL, and faith. So let's begin. Let's talk about what happened over the weekend in college football and NFL. College football had some crazy games. Games on Friday night. We had Arizona State beating TCU 27-24, as well as Florida State getting upsetted by Virginia in overtime. I'm 44-38. And with both those games were very interesting because Arizona State has now won back-to-back games, 27-24, and beating a top 25 team this previous Friday, a versus TCU. TCU, it looked like a great team that whole game, and in the end, Arizona State came out on top. Florida State, though, in Virginia's game, whoa, nobody was expecting that. Nobody was expecting to see Florida State lose to Virginia. That loss bumped them down way in the AP polls that came out yesterday, and could have some impact on them, maybe going forward. But they have a good game coming up next Saturday versus Miami. Maybe they can bounce back from that, which I'll talk about that a little later. But now let's get into Saturday's slate of games. Let's talk about the noon games that happened. Notre Dame, Arkansas. Notre Dame absolutely steamrolled Arkansas 56-13. USC versus Illinois, a top 25 matchup. Illinois comes out on top 34-32. Georgia Tech beats Wake Forest in overtime 30-29, and Louisville versus Pitt 34-27. Now let's talk about some of those games real fast. Notre Dame, Arkansas. Notre Dame has probably one of the best games I think I've seen against a team that, even though they're in the SEC, a really good first half. They put up 35 points in the first half versus USC, but mainly it was because of Jeremiah Love. Jeremiah Love had 4 total touchdowns, 2 rushing, 2 and 2 receiving touchdowns, which I've never seen a running back do that in a single half, especially against an SEC school like Arkansas. I know Arkansas is not really one of the best SEC schools, but they're still an SEC school. And to put up 56 points still on them was really interesting, really cool to watch. The 13 points as well, and that led to their head coach getting fired, and I'll talk about that in a little bit as well. USC versus Illinois, though, wow. If you didn't watch that game, you missed a bunch because that game was back and forth scoring. Illinois would score, USC would score, Illinois would be up a little bit, USC would come back, tie it or be down. I mean, like, it was crazy. You see how that ended on a game-winning field goal for Illinois. Everyone rushed the field in that game, and it was just cool to watch. The exact same thing also happened in the Virginia FSU game on Friday. Virginia was home, and the student section there, everyone was talking about that. It's because it's on a hill. It's just a grass hill. So students, they're closer to the field, so they can rush it right since the game is over. They were ready to rush that field before it went to overtime. They were waiting for the game to be over to rush it, and after overtime, they rushed that field, and that whole place was crowded with Virginia fans. Exact same thing with the Illinois game. The Illinois student section rushed the field, and that whole entire place was filled with blue and orange. Now, another game, Georgia Tech, Wake Forest. I kind of stopped watching this game. I was watching it, and then I was like, oh, Wake Forest is up 23-20. Georgia Tech had just punted the ball, and Wake Forest is going to win this game. Nope. Went to overtime. And Georgia Tech won it. Georgia Tech got ball first in overtime, and they scored, made it 30-23. Wake Forest goes to score. They score, making it 30-29. They go for 2, and you don't get it, and thus having Georgia Tech win. In that type of game, you don't want to go for 2 unless you're certain this 2-point conversion is going to work in OT. You more than likely want to kick the extra point and just go to second overtime. They didn't, though. Really cost them the game. Should have probably thought about it a little better. But nonetheless, Georgia Tech remains with a winning record. They're 5-0. Oh, they have a bye week next week, so they get a little time off. Louisville versus Pitt. Now, this was an interesting game. If you didn't watch what happened during that game, I'll talk about it here in just a second, but Pitt gets an interception, probably around it's somewhere in the first half. They get an interception. The ball goes to the ball boy, and Pitt goes and literally like pretty much tries to mug the ball boy to get the ball back to throw it in the stands. I'm assuming that he was trying to get to a family member or somebody. Just he goes over. They pretty much throw the ball boy down to the ground, and this is Louisville's ball boy. This is not Pitt's ball boy. This is Louisville's ball boy, and throws him to the ground. And there's some controversy about that. Like some people were talking about it, and did not look really good for the team, even because you don't want to see those type of people. They're there. They work for them for the school, or they're a volunteer for school. They're not. They're part of the team, but not fully part of the team. You don't want to see someone like that get hurt, or even worse, maybe pick a fight with somebody. And this isn't like the first time we've seen like ball boys get a little attacked. Last year there was with Colorado, and whoever Colorado was playing, where that team's ball boy actually went over to try to get the ball. It's just a little interesting that happened during that game. Now let's talk about 3:30 games. IU beats Iowa 20-15. Ole Miss versus LSU. Ole Miss gets the win, winning 24-19. Tennessee versus Mississippi State, 41-34 win in OT. Now, IU versus Iowa was a very nitty-gritty game, mainly because Iowa's defense is really good, always have a good defense. And the score for that game throughout most of it since halftime was 10-10, and Iowa scored 3 points first, and then IU scored 3 points. Then it was tied 13-13. And then it came to a point in about the fourth quarter where IU got really bailed out on that play to win it, where Mendoza hits Surratt, and Surratt goes 49 yards for the touchdown. They got pretty much bailed out on that play. Then Iowa gets the ball back, can't do anything. They turn it over on downs. IU gets it. They try to kneel it out, and it becomes a little bit of a problem there towards the end. And then the final play, Mendoza runs it out of the back of the end zone, making it 20-15 because it was 20-13. Mendoza runs out of the back of the end zone, makes it 20-15, and there's a little bit of controversy there, but a win is a win for IU. So now the Ole Miss LSU game, Ole Miss using their backup quarterback pretty much outperformed LSU. I mean, on almost every single level, they outperformed them. It would have been probably 24-21, but LSU, when they ran a 2-point conversion after they scored, they didn't get it because Ole Miss read it like a book. Defense got into the back of the end zone, stopped the running back from scoring, make it 24-19, and then Ole Miss just pretty much rode the game out from there. And it was kind of a crazy week if you didn't pay attention to the media and everything. Lane Kiffin kind of had an interesting week. I'll talk about that in just a minute, but it was just a crazy week for Ole Miss head coach Lane Kiffin. Now, Tennessee versus Mississippi State. I was shocked that game went to overtime, mainly because Tennessee's ranked. They're ranked 15th, and I think they moved up a little bit in the AP polls as well this week. And Mississippi State, they're not ranked. They've been a really tough team to play as well this year. Mississippi State took them to OT, couldn't score in overtime. Final score, like I said, was 41-34 in OT. Tennessee still played a heck of a game, and so did Mississippi State. Wouldn't be shocked, though, if Mississippi State, though, they continue how they are, they could upset a team in the SEC and be maybe ranked soon. I mean, they have a decent team right now, so we'll just see how that goes. Now let's talk about some of the night games. Oregon, Penn State. That was a game if you didn't watch it. 30-24, double OT. Oregon wins it 30-24. There's some controversies about the game. About if you watch it, there's some things that happen, especially a possible targeting penalty in the first OT wasn't called. I'll talk a little bit more here in a minute, though, but it was a game where if you saw what happened, certain things, there's a lot to watch in that game. Bama, Georgia. Bama beats Georgia 24-21. I'll talk about it in a minute, but if you know how Bama won, it's kind of funny how they won because they were stopped on third down, and a Georgia player made a dumb move. I'll talk about it here in a minute. And then the late game, BYU Colorado. BYU wins at 24-21. It's a close game, very much all game. Could have seen Colorado win or BYU win. Could have gone to overtime, but doesn't. And so we get 24-21 on BYU. So let's talk about what happened between the first game, Oregon Penn State. Pretty much for the whole game, it was kind of a snooze fest first half. Very much a defense battle, pretty much what you want to see in college football, especially two top 10 teams. You had the number 3 seed in Oregon, and then number 6 seed in Oregon, number 3 seed in Penn State. And it's at Penn State. It's wide out. This is all this stuff. Like I said, first half was defense battle. It was 3-3 at halftime. The defense of both sides were very much strong. There wasn't a lot of, I would say, good offensive plays first half. Second half kind of became a little more offensive. The offense kind of took over, and mainly because in the first, I would say not first few drives, but in a drive in the third quarter, Oregon finally found that win, found their first touchdown, making it 10-3. Then the fourth, at the beginning of the fourth quarter, they scored and made it 17-3. So now you're thinking Penn State, okay, we're down 2 touchdowns. We got to go down and score. That's what they did. They scored 1 touchdown, got the ball back, went down and scored another touchdown late. Oregon can't really do anything until overtime. Penn State got ball first in overtime, quickly scored, making it 24-17. Oregon got the ball in overtime, and they get the ball, they get first down, and then they had to get another first down before they could score. And before that, they got another first down. It was like third down, they get it. The guy gets it, going down, and one of the Penn State players hits him, pretty much it's helmet-to-helmet contact. Should have been targeting as well, but they said, oh, it didn't hit the crown of the helmet. I'll tell you this, it's hard to determine now targeting because they want to say, oh, you need launch point, you need helmet-to-helmet contact, you need to make sure that the crown of the helmet from the defensive player is actually hitting them, or even offensive player is hitting them. I'll tell you this, he leans his head down, and this part of the helmet right around here hits. That's still technically supposed to be considered crown of the helmet. The fact that they don't want to call it sometimes in a game like this, it's hard to determine now what is targeting and how do we determine it, or are we going to call it even though it clearly looks like it, but from one perspective it's not, from another it is. It was kind of hard. It didn't matter anyways. It is on that 4th and 1. Oregon gets the first down. Then a play or two later, touchdown. It's 24-24, and then we go to double overtime, and Oregon went one play, touchdown, and it was 30-24. They missed a 2-point conversion. Now, you're thinking okay, Penn State, we get the ball now. We have to score no matter what. And the first play is an interception for Penn State, thus losing them the game. And it probably is a ball that that if you're Penn State, especially Drew Aller, you should not throw that ball. Might have been not. It might not made it to receiver, but that safety, Thieneman, former guy from Purdue transfer, absolutely read that play, read that ball, and perfectly cuts and jumps, gets a game-sealing interception, and it's over for Penn State at that point. And you watch and you go, why did he throw it there? When wait a second, maybe put a little more air on it. If he puts a little more air on it, maybe he gets to the tight end running his route. But even then, there's a safety or corner that's watching him. Maybe it gets blown up. But you think, though, that ball needed a little more air on it. Kind of cost him the game there. But the rest of the game as well, it was very slow on offense for both Penn State and Oregon. So it's kind of like very interesting how that game went. Now, Bama, Georgia. Whew. There was a couple of funny things that happened during this game. Mainly, one of the things that happened in the first half, if you didn't watch it, before Bama goes and scores to make it 24 to I believe it was 24-14. Bama puts offensive tackle Proctor out there, and they throw a screen to him, and it was like 3rd and 11, and he got the first down plus an extra yard or two. And if you, I've never seen a offensive tackle go out wide, take a screen pass, nobody can tackle him. He's 300 plus pounds, and get a first down. And I'm like, are you serious? That happened in a game, especially college? I mean, hey, whatever works, works. I mean, I would even run it too. So then it became 24-14 at half. Georgia scores. It's the only points in the second half, making it 24-21. Bama then gets the ball late in the game in the fourth quarter. It's probably about 2 minutes, 2.5. And it's about 3rd and 1. They're just going to run it, try to get the first down, run some more clock off. And they hand it off to the running back, and he stopped. He wasn't even close to getting the first down. They had him like inches short. This idiot defensive player for Georgia, the whistle's already blown. He absolutely freaking jumps and dives into the pile, and everyone knows you're not allowed to do that. He did it right in front of the ref too. That's an unsportsmanlike penalty, and pretty much cost him the game. They were under 2 minutes when that happened too, and it cost him the game because he just absolutely dives onto the Bama players, thus creating the loss. And very much it looks bad for Georgia too, because Bama was ranked 17th, and they went from 17 to now 10 in the AP polls, and Georgia's now sitting at about 12 in the AP polls. So Bama's ahead of Georgia after beating them. It's going to be a long way for the SEC championship for both those teams, because now they both are at one. A lot of teams are about one loss in the SEC besides Texas A&M right now, but that could change as well for them. And I'll talk about a little bit of that later. But then, and that really was the two main games besides BYU Colorado. If you wanted to stay up and watch until like 2 a.m. watching that game. Now let's talk about some things that also happened last week. So some of the crazy things that happened last week. If you pay attention last week, Gundy, Oklahoma State's head coach, he gets fired mainly because of the poor playing the past few years. They were supposed to be a top team in the Big 12. Haven't done anything since the Big 12 championship a couple of years ago. It came repetitive, and it got to a point where I think Oklahoma State had to make a decision and say, all right, we gotta let you go. It's gotten to a point we have to let you go, and that happened. And then, as well, if you watched on Sunday, Arkansas's head coach Sam Pittman, he was fired. I think he knew it was coming too. It was just going to depend on how much they lost to Notre Dame by, and mainly it's because the defense is atrocious. Their defense was terrible, and their offense was decent, but outside of that, it was bad. And so I know for Arkansas, their interim head coach is their former head coach, Bobby Petrino. He was the head coach back in 2008 to 2011. Maybe he gets the head coach job back, depending on how well he does this year, or maybe he just gets fired or something. It's just going to depend on how well he does the rest of the year and how well the team does. Now we get to talk about Lane Kiffin's. I call it a weird week for him, because if you paid attention, last Thursday they did a 30 for 30 for Lane, and he was on McAfee's show that morning to talk about it. Then that Friday, it comes out that officially his daughter is dating Whit Weeks, the linebacker of LSU, and that's kind of like you're going, oh man, it's going to be kind of personal depending on who wins or loses. And like I said, Ole Miss won, so then Lane's the head coach of Ole Miss. You watch it, and after the game is over, you hear him say, I got to find Whit to ask if we hit the over or under on the game, meaning I'm assuming he's talking about points. And I don't know what the point spread was for it, and I don't really care. I don't care about gambling, but he said that, And then after the game's over, Lane posts about on Brian Kelly, the head coach of LSU, on his podcast about, oh, we're going to keep the trophy that they get, staying in Baton Rouge, it's not leaving, yada, yada, yada. If he heard that probably early in the week, which I'm assuming he did, he was able to circle back and he probably printed it out because he printed it out on a piece of paper. He had that piece of paper because he took a picture of it and posted it on Twitter. He probably took that picture, showed it to the team, and said, they think they want to keep the trophy there in Baton Rouge. It's coming to here. We got the better team. We are going to prove we have the better team. We are going to make sure they know we are the better team. And they did pretty much the whole game. That offense was electric. Defense was phenomenal for Ole Miss. It was just crazy how it went down. And I think Ole Miss has proven themselves that they could be an SEC championship. They're the only team in the SEC that is unbeaten besides Texas A&M. It is going to be a crazy SEC championship if Ole Miss and Texas A&M, and make it. I mean, Tennessee could make it. Bama can make it. Georgia can make it. It just depends on how they win out the rest of the year. And that's all dependent, like I said, how they win the rest of the year. And who has the better, I would say, top 25 win inside the SEC. Now, that Oregon win, though. Oregon wins. The significance of it kind of leapfrogged them into being the number 2 team. Do I think they'll stay number 2? Just depends on how the rest of the year goes. Do I think their team's great? Absolutely. Good offense, good defense is kind of great, kind of good, depending on how well the defense was to play. Passing-wise, it can be iffy. Rushing, it's doable. I'll just say that. They're decent on that. And I just think Oregon's win is very, very good for them. They needed it. Penn State would have needed it too to, I think, help keep their... I'm not saying it doesn't diminish them from making the college football playoffs, but you think about it from last year, you lose 2 games, you're out of the CFP. And that's a very much possibility for Penn State. If they lose another game, they're out. And it's not a hard schedule for them. It's not an easy schedule. It's just how are you going to play the rest of the year? And that's going to be the exact same thing for Oregon. Now, so the Bama win over Georgia as well. And, that win, like I said, how does that affect the SEC championship? Because with that loss to Georgia, they kind of have a easy-ish slate the rest of the year, but they still have to win every single game. You got to, the mindset for every single time you lose in college football, you reset your game plan, especially if top 25 team. The game plan is reset to we're not even a lost team. We don't think we lose. We're 0-0. It's restart time. It's start of the season. We're 0-0. We haven't won a game yet. We're going to go out this week and we're going to win. And that's how Georgia has to play. That's how Penn State has to play. And that's how you have to continue to play well the rest of the year. Now let's get into the NFL slate of games. Whew. Crazy week. If you watch Thursday Night Football, Seahawks beat the Cardinals on game-winning field goal. For most of the game, the Seahawks were winning it. It was 20-3 until the fourth quarter. The Cardinals went on back-to-back drives when they got the ball in the fourth to make it 20-20, and Seattle just pretty much got down the field with about 40-ish seconds left and won the game. And that's how that game ended. It looked, the Cardinals were not good the whole first few quarters, and then came alive there in the fourth just to lose, but to a game-winning field goal, a chip shot field goal, nonetheless as well. Dublin game was Sunday morning. I love a good Sunday morning game like that in another country. It's always fun to watch. It's always good to see how the venue looks, how the teams are going to play. Jet lag is a totally thing for these guys, especially if going from one place to the other. There was a little bit of talk about, if you noticed on social media, that Steelers kind of took a plane that was just in rows, while the Vikings took a plane with pretty much first class seating, and they were pretty much a little pampered too due to that. And uh, I mean, Steelers beat the Vikings that game 24-21. If you also pay attention to Steelers quarterback Skylar Thompson got robbed on Friday. I'm like, how does that happen in an away game, an away place with nobody else there with him? I'm assuming he probably went out by himself 2 days before the game. Oh, well, technically it's 3 days because they're hours ahead of us. So, technically he was a full couple hours ahead and would technically be Saturday, even though it's Friday. But Falcons beat Commanders 34-27 in the 1 o'clock slate. Commanders have been a great team for the most part. Falcons came alive. Penix had a great game that day on Sunday morning at the 1 o'clock round. The Commanders need to bounce back after that loss. They're now about 2-2 going in. They need to win with next week with Daniels coming back. They needed him this game, and it was pretty much proven that they needed him. Mario is a good backup quarterback, but they needed Daniels. Another good game, like I said last week about the 1 o'clock Bucks and Eagles. Eagles beat the Bucks. Bucks very much good, decent game throughout most part, and 31-25 was really good. Would win in the Texans beat the Titans 26-0. Titans looked absolute horrible, and I honestly am surprised their head coach has not been fired yet. I don't think it will take long for him to get fired, but it's gonna happen soon. Texans they needed that win. That's their first official win, and they need to continue to winning and to stay in the race for possibly the AFC South Championship, which is kind of a good thing right now because I'll talk about the Colts, but both the Colts and Jags are kind of tied right now at the top, but the Colts had the lead even with the loss the Colts had. Another good game to talk about. Hey, Jackson Dart. I said he was going to start. He won. Got his first dub. 21-18 versus the Chargers. That's an absolute crazy day for him. I'll talk about his stats real fast. He was 13-20 when he passing for 111 yards, a passing touchdown, 10 carries, 54 yards, and a rushing touchdown. No interceptions. Had a fumble. I didn't see if it was recovered or not. It didn't look like it was by him, but possibly was recovered by the team. But good outing for him. This was perfect for him. It proves that he's good. He can get a win versus a good team like the Chargers. Chargers were 3-0. They're 3-1 now. It was a good day for him, and I'm hoping this win can excel him into being a great player for the Giants. And I'm going to tell you this, he's phenomenal. He's going to do great. He will be great for the Giants. I would say he's the franchise quarterback pretty much up to that game. They hadn't looked good the first 3 weeks. They were there in MetLife Stadium. He gets his first win at home. It's against the whole crowd gets to see him. That is a statement win for a rookie. You're 0-3. You go against a 3-0 team. It's a statement win, and that is perfect. Now we come to a game that I want to get out of my mind on the Colts and Rams. Oh, was I hot about what happened during this game all around. The Rams beat the Colts 27-20. Should have been 34-27 final score Colts, and I'll talk about it here in a minute. The Colts, we could have played better all around. Offensively, we could have played a little better. A couple things that really haven't very much sell this game. A.D. Mitchell, I hope he doesn't have a much big role next week for two reasons. One, he dropped a touchdown while trying to celebrate outside of the end zone, drops it, the ball rolls out of bounds, touchback, killed to make it, if I remember correctly, 17-13. Yeah, I was not happy about that. Then, later on in the game, too, we're tied 20-20. holding penalty that kept Jonathan Taylor from having a touchdown to make it 27-20. That was not good, but because that took away 2 touchdowns. That's 34 points right there. 34 points. That's 2 touchdowns, 14 points. But it would have been 34-20. And then after that drive, after that holding penalty, we couldn't get a first down. We punted it away. Colts defense lets up a 80-plus yard touchdown, pretty much thus losing us the game. And it was not good for the Colts at all. Not good. And I will say this too. Xavier Howard needs to be cut. That dude has cost us a lot these past 2 weeks. He did well week 1, but week 2, week 3, and this week, it's not been good for us. And I just don't know what to think about it. It's not good on defense for him. I'm hoping Kenny can get back because we need Kenny Moore real badly. And I will also say the 2 interceptions by Jones, they didn't help either. I mean, the first one was pretty much underthrown, and if I was the head coach, I would have been like, what did you see to make you wait to throw it? Because he was way late to throw. The announcers even said he just took too much time to throw it. And as a guy who's watched this game through the years, that is not his strong suit. If he's going to throw the deep ball, he's either got to step into it more or he's got to throw it sooner because he waited too long. The other defensive back was able to get there, pick it off, and take it back a couple yards. The second interception as well was his fault. He had to check down. Now, this was a drive to actually go down and tie it. We could have taken the ball and gone down and score or tie to make it 27-27. He doesn't. He throws outside to Pittman. Very much underthrown as well again, and it's picked off. Both his picks so far were interceptions, pretty much, and those were 2 interceptions he's had all year so far, both underthrown, and it was outside numbers. Every single interception that I've seen him in throughout his career is outside the numbers and very much underthrown. He does not do well outside the numbers. He does well inside and not outside, and that needs to be his game more. Is if we're going to throw outside numbers, you can tell he either throws it too high or too low. He can't stay in between. If we're going to continue with him as the quarterback, which I know we are, he's got to somehow keep his head level with throwing that. He had a great game. Don't get me wrong, he had a great game. So those 2 interceptions as well cost us points. Probably 3 points there, or even 7 first drive because we got the ball first, and it kind of killed us. So yeah, I'm not happy. Our run game was also a little non-existent throughout the first half, and then we started running it second half, and I was like, thank goodness. And then we stopped running it. We kind of went back to throwing it. But don't get me wrong, the Rams' defense was good. Puka Nacua made our defense look like absolute garbage. That dude was on fire yesterday, so was not happy about that. I'll talk a little bit about this real fast. Chiefs-Ravens. Chiefs beat the Ravens 37-20. Lamar got hurt, hamstring injury. Hopefully he gets back. Maybe the Ravens can bounce back. But the Ravens, they looked horrible. Several players got injured, and they are literally down a bunch of players on their defense. The defense needs to get a little better to continue to win. I mean, they're 1-3 now, and you never want to be 1-3. If your team that was projected to make the playoffs, you go 1-3 to start the year, never good for the team. You don't want to be 1-3. You want to be 2-2. Chiefs are 2-2 now. They need to continue to use this, excuse me, to win because 37-20 when he beating the Ravens is a score. You beat the Giants the previous week, barely. You need to take these 2 wins, continue to win. Ravens and the Ravens need to find ways to get the defensive players healthy. It was crazy games that happened yesterday. Raiders lost to the Bears on a blocked field goal. Raiders probably should have won that game, but it was not good. Sunday Night Football, man, that was I hate tie games. Honestly, you don't want to lose the game either, but honestly, if the Packers in overtime, you're down 40-37, throw the ball with 1 second left. I mean, there was literally a second left. You rush the field goal team on on because you miss an incomplete pass. Throw that off, keep the offense out there, and try to get the touchdown. Don't even try to tie the game. I mean, it's just insane. And you think I really thought the Packers were going to win that game, and it didn't happen. So that's how that game ended. And this is not. It was a decent weekend for football, but it was crazy how that game ended. So now we'll talk about some of the games to watch this weekend for college football. I'll run through these real fast. Friday night football. If you want to watch some Friday night football, watch West Virginia BYU. That should be a decent game. That will be at 10:30 at night for BYU. It'll be on ESPN. The Saturday noon kickoff. There's not really great games that weekend. I'm going to be at Illinois Purdue, so I'll see how that game goes. But most of the games are going to have Kentucky, Georgia, Iowa State, Cincinnati, Wisconsin, Michigan, and I would say Boston College and Pitt will be kind of the better games to watch. If you want to watch Clemson, North Carolina, I don't want to say that's going to be Bill Belichick's first win, but it could be because Clemson's not that great, and neither is North Carolina. So, yeah, that's probably how that game's going to go. 3:30 games. I would say the best ones to watch would probably be Vandy, Bama, Boise State, Notre Dame, Virginia, Louisville, Washington, Maryland will be probably the best games to watch. If you want to watch Texas, Florida, as well, that's Texas, Florida. I would watch that game too. If you want to see Arch destroy Florida, Penn State, UCLA should be an easy win for Penn State. I wouldn't expect anything out of them. As well as if you want to, there's Syracuse, SMU. Syracuse does not have a starting quarterback, so could see SMU win that game. Just depends on how that goes. Saturday night's slate it's kind of a boring slate. If I may be honest, the only really good game two games that happen will be Miami, Florida State, and then Mississippi State, Texas A&M. I'm predicting Mississippi State to upset Texas A&M, mainly because I feel like how they've played these past few weeks. Last week versus Tennessee, I think they can upset Texas A&M. So be prepared for that. I'm also for the Florida State Miami game. Miami's going to Tallahassee. Yeah, Tallahassee to play Florida State, and it's at Florida State. So wouldn't be surprised. Florida State upsets Miami. Doesn't mean it will happen, but it could. Minnesota Ohio State will be also the main Big Ten game. I mean, Ohio State probably won it. It's at Ohio State. I don't see Minnesota winning unless something happens and they win. I don't know if that will happen, but that's probably the good 7:30 games. The big night game, if you want to watch a 10:30 game on Saturday, Duke Cal might be a good game to watch. I wouldn't be surprised if Cal wins it or Duke wins it, just depending on those two's records. So that's how that will go. Let's talk about NFL this week. Thursday Night Football, Niners and Rams. Give me the Rams easily. I know Brock Purdy's back, but not that many. A lot of their weapons got hurt. Defense is hurt. Give me the Rams and to win that game. Let's see. Oh, yeah. The London game that morning and Sunday is Minnesota-Cleveland. Think about this. Minnesota pretty much will stay in that area. They're not going to leave. You don't want to leave. Leave because you're having to play London. If I'm Minnesota, I stay. I fly to London today, start practicing there. Cleveland, if I'm Cleveland, I want to leave by Tuesday so I can get to London at a decent time to start practicing on Wednesday, or you leave today. And give me Minnesota for that game. I feel like you're already in the area. It's not that big of a time difference there from Dublin to London. Give me Minnesota that game. Colts, Raiders. Honestly, I feel like it's a bounce back win for the Colts, but as well as I feel it's a trap game, mainly because of the record that the Colts and Raiders have. It's a tied record dating back to 1971. With the Colts have won it mainly, but the Raiders won some big games against us. It's 11-11 times. We've only played them about 22 times throughout the history of playing them. Give me the Colts, but I feel like the Raiders could beat us at home. They have beat us at home multiple times, and it kind of feels like a game that They could come in if we're not prepared for them. They could beat us. They're not a great team, but I feel like they can come and beat us. Another good game to watch in that 1 o'clock slate: Denver, Philly. I feel like Denver, they're gonna destroy. Oh yeah, we have Monday Night Football as well tonight. All right, Jets and Dolphins, and Denver, Cincy. Give me the Jets to absolutely beat the Dolphins, and then give me Denver to absolutely trample over Broncos. Two terrible games tonight, and that. So yeah, if Miami loses, I expect McDaniels to get fired. Then yeah, Denver, Philly should be one of the best. Better should be a great 1 o'clock game to watch. Let's see. I mean, as well as Houston, Baltimore. If Lamar's healthy, Baltimore probably beats Houston in that game. And let's see, the 4 o'clock games. There's only one really good one. It's Tampa, Seattle. Give me Tampa that game. I feel like Seattle's gonna put up a good fight, but I think Tampa will win. 425 games are the only good one is Washington and LA, and Chargers. Give me the Chargers to win that game. I think Washington could bounce back and win, but I feel like the Chargers had the better team. Then the night game is New England and Buffalo. Don't get me wrong, New England's a decent team this year, but Buffalo might put 50 on them Sunday night. They might. Not saying they will. And then the Monday Night Football, Chiefs, Jags. Give me the Chiefs to win that game. Like I said, the Chiefs are kind of on a roll right now. Jags are decent. I wouldn't say they're great, but I think the Chiefs will win that game next Monday night, for sure. And that will do it for football. I'll lead out. I'm going to say a quick prayer, and then we'll be done. Thank you, Jesus, for this podcast and episode today. I hope it reaches some people to know a little bit about football, and as well as know about what I believe to. So I thank you, Lord, for this today. And in Jesus' name I pray, amen. Thank you all for watching.